I feel like if you clicked on this video, chances are you're pretty familiar with Ocarina of Time. I thought I was too. In fact, I could probably beat it without getting hit a single time. Right? Well, I decided to put that to the test, put my rupees where my mouth is, and today I'll be beating Ocarina of Time from start to finish without getting a single point of damage. To ensure I don't accidentally gloss over any damage taken, as I'm normally wont to do, I've made two changes. Number 1, every single point of damage I take, no matter what, has been multiplied by 256. This way, anytime I take any point of damage, I die. Number 2, when I die, my save file is automatically deleted, forcing me to restart from scratch. Every single time, without fail. And finally, for the rules of the challenge, I have to beat every main dungeon in any order I want, and I'm not allowed to use game-breaking glitches or exploits. Basically, nothing that skips a chunk of the game, creates new items from scratch, or otherwise. And with that very simple introduction out of the way, let's begin! The challenge begins where all Ocarina of Time challenges begin, right here in Link's house. I'm greeted by Zora outside, then rush off to get the sword, avoiding the easily avoidable boulder along the way, and I get the shield for the grand total of 40 rupees found in dirt and grass. Talk to Mido, and well, this is the last time I'm going to feel safe in this playthrough. The Deku Tree asks if I, Link 1, have the courage to enter, and well, no, but I kinda have to, don't I? I make my way into the Great Deku Tree where I kill the Deku Babas for the ultimate weapon, the Deku Nuts. Using the nuts, I breeze through the dungeon with ease and take the gold Skulltulas along the way. There's nothing really standing out in this tutorial dungeon, including the boss, Queen Goma. Dies in 3 hits, you know how it is. Accidentally grab the heart container on the way, an accident because I don't really need the hearts anyway, and they're honestly more of a detriment to the run than anything else. You'll see why later. Much later. Regardless, I press on into the vast open world of Hyrule, Ocarina handed to me by Zora, and get over to the castle. This whole segment is practically completely safe, as long as I don't hurt myself in the Skulltula I knock out of a tree or something, which I ultimately keep risking for only a minor benefit. After I'm just so extremely sneaky. Do you not hear the child screaming? I get my papers from Zelda that show that I'm now a certified hero. I get Zelda's lullaby and go off to Kakariko Village, painstakingly collect the required cuckoos for the lady to get my first bottle, then stand outside the village for a little bit to get to nighttime and collect the Skulltulas and the shield from the graveyard in preparation for what's to come. Then, I set foot on Death Mountain Trail for the first time. I'm obviously feeling very paranoid over just about everything. Gotta be careful, there's a spider on the right there. Finally make my way up to Goron City, jumping down one level at a time to make sure I don't break my legs, and open the way to Darunia just to open the path to the Lost Woods and get Zoria's song. The Wolfos in the Sacred Forest Meadow isn't safe for my trigger happy nut button. No. 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 And I then proceed to hide behind a shield for the remainder of the path, killing every single Deku Scrub along the way. Just because I'm trying to avoid getting hit doesn't mean I'm a pacifist, it just means I'm made out of paper mache. With Zoria's song learned, I make my way back to Goron City and cheer up a chat of a Goron who bursts into a groove like, damn man, look at him, go! Obtain a Goron bracelet which lets us enter Dodongo's Cavern, and I have nothing else to do, so in I go. Dodongo's Cavern, the introduction of some of the harder enemies to deal with in the game. Normal gameplay would dictate you jump over the gaps, but instead I opt to walk over the edges of the lava to get to the backside ladders instead, which this way is just a lot safer, honestly. This way I don't really feel like I need to worry about missing the jump and ending up in the lava or even the Beamos in the middle. Maybe I'm stupid, but the Beamo statues always end up hitting me somehow, so I'd like to avoid them at all costs. I throw my nuts at the baby Dodongos, slowly shoot every single case with my slingshot to avoid basically any dangerous encounter with any of them, and even Deku Nuts on the Lizalfos. This goes on for just about every room in the dungeon. Shoot keys, make sure everything and everyone is paralyzed from nuts, slowly inch forward all the way down to King Dodongo, who dies in the usual way. Stab him once, shame on him, stab him twice, shame on me. Almost pick up the heart container, but leave to get the Goron Ruby. And now the fun part. We're going up to the Great Ferry, which means we'll need to cross Falling Death Rock's road. Now why do I call this stretch of unassuming land Falling Death Rock's Road, you ask? Well, even if you bring the appropriate shield, occasionally the rubble from the falling death rocks will still bounce from the side towards you, causing you to get hit and die anyway. So to avoid this, we go with plan B. Walk backwards and mostly ignore it altogether. However, this way isn't necessarily safe either. Sometimes you'll hit the wall while the rocks are still falling, at which point you need to carefully and blindly adjust to the situation and still use the shield. Neither option is fully safe, which means getting through this area is just partially a dice roll. Very fun. Miraculously though, I end up making my way through Falling Death Rock's Road and I'm able to get the magic meter. So now that I have the magic meter, I use the owl for the one thing he's good for and have him fly me over Falling Death Rock's Road. So long, sucker! I hope I never have to traverse you again. I quickly pick up Did's Fire and make my way to Zora's domain. It was an uneventful trek. I didn't even really resort to killing everything due to how uneventful it all was. I wish I could show you, but there is a way to die in Zora's domain by jumping incorrectly, basically. I wish I could show you, but if I die, I lose my save file. And considering it's taken 1.5 hours to get here, show it on your 69th run? Bet. Link 69 will die to a bad jump. Might be a while, because this is Link number 1. Sorry for signing your life away, Link of Universe 69. Let's just hope it won't take that long. I don't die in the stupidest way possible, and proceed to my third dungeon, Jabu-Jabu's Belly. The best part about this is that for all the time saves that they put in on the 3DS version of the game, like for all the stuff that they sped up, they left this perfectly intact. It is 1-to-1. Jabu-Jabu's Belly. I carefully make my way through the entrance hall, also known as the mouth, while avoiding the bubbles as much as possible, because trying to break them up with what is effectively a mere butter knife just doesn't feel like a good idea, I assure you. I meet up with Ruto, whose ass is a perfect makeshift weapon, so I plant her ass carefully all over the place to avoid dealing with just about every encounter in a normal fashion, all the way until the boomerang and then some. This continues all the way until the first boss I'm actually afraid of, the Big Octo. Thankfully, I was only really scared of this one because I usually just face tank the Big Octo and force him to turn around. But as long as you're patient with your boomerang throws and don't touch the spikes, he usually ends up turning around and a mere one-stick jump slash is good enough to kill him before he realistically deals any damage. That was almost. I think if I just try and take him down carefully instead of going for the middle of the spikes, I should be good. Got him! Okay. This instant kills him, so that's good. My ass is clenched for this dungeon. For the rest of the dungeon, it continues with just the overtly careful approach. Take out anything I can take out of the range and only move forward if the way is clear. It's a slow but steady way of doing things. Finally, I hit Baronade. Baronade is just like Big Octo, an encounter that terrifies me a great deal. It shoots massive lightning hitboxes across the arena, and if you're not careful, he may just blindside you early on. While I make some mistakes here and there, I don't end up getting hit. And carefully strafing through the encounter eventually leads to a success, though my ass is so clenched by this point that I fear I may need to get it checked out. With a remarkably successful start, I'm starting to get hopeful that this may not be as bad as initially expected, and continue my attempt, grabbing opponent's song and the adult wallet along the way, alongside filling it up completely using the shooting gallery as a guaranteed refill package, before pulling the Master Sword and moving on to the adult portion of the game. Here we go, second half of the game, or, well, 2/3 really. Basically, I just finished the tutorial. I took over 2 hours to do this just because I was being so stupidly careful. Keep in mind, I'm also playing with sped up text too, so this was honestly just really slow, but results are results. So, Adult Link, the first order of business is to get to the next area the grave Dampe resides in, but you gotta be very, very careful, because this grave isn't his, it's yours, and he'll make damn sure you know of it. I know your instincts are yelling at you to keep pressing A to roll and speed up and hit that sub-minute mark, but you have plenty of time. Every time you see fire, slow down, assess the situation, and, walk around it. Be normal for a change. Do this, and it should be reasonably easy to get through this without getting hit, though it doesn't stop being stressful, honestly. Hook shot acquired. On the way out, I grabbed the Song of Storms because, well, it's here anyway. My next stop is Goron City. Bomb Link 1 the Goron from above, get the Goron tunic, but more importantly, I really want to get the Giant's Knife. It mostly just serves as a damage boost for the completely broken crouch stab, and it's what I wanted the 200 rupees for. And finally, from Goron City, I can move through the Lost Woods to avoid an untimely death from the absolute swarm of enemies currently residing in Kokiri Forest. Because I'll let you in on a little secret. The simpler and weaker the enemy in this game, the easier it is for them to get a quick hit in. It's nuts. Deku nuts. Next, it's the Sacred Forest Meadow. I kill the moblins using the hook shot as I carefully sneak my way through the hallways. A little fun fact here, the level geometry between Adult Link and Young Link is slightly different, as what is originally shallow water here ends up deep water there. On the last corner, it takes a long while for the last moblin to show up, but I'm not going to try charging in guns blazing either. I'm dumb, but not that dumb. With Zarya not being in her usual spot, we learn the Minuet of Forest and bravely enter our first Adult Link dungeon, the Forest Temple. No. 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 For the entrance room, I used the Deku Nuts to split up the Wolfos. This way I can take them down one by one by hitting their weak points. I climb up the vines to the right to grab the first key, and then proceed to climb the vines back down rather than challenge gravity. And I'm going to need to take certain things a lot slower than I'm used to. Overall though, this should be fine. With the ghost stealing all the light in this dungeon and leaving the lobby dark, it's up to Link 1 to return light to the darkness. First thing I decide to take care of is the Stalfos room, taken out by some very careful nut usage and crowd stabs, and then this happens. Oh, I was not ready for that. Oh. Well, that sure is a treasure right there. Keep it going with the nut and stab combos and slowly climb down the vines. Slowly climb down the ladder, down into the well. I really did get stupidly careful about survival in this run. Honestly though, not much ends up happening here between here and the next Stalfos room, so let's skip ahead just a little bit. These Stalfos end up being a bit more difficult as I'm having a harder time stunning them with the Deku Nuts, but I still don't get hit. For the red Poe Sister, I keep my distance and force her to reappear with, you guessed it, even more Deku Nuts. But then I run so low, I can't do the same thing for the blue Poe Sister, so I end up using a different strategy for her. Keep distance, but get close to bait her into attacking. As long as you've kept your distance, she'll never actually chain her attacks, and always makes herself visible after an attack, meaning you can shoot her with the arrows every single time. There. Our next encounter is with the force drop down into a hole. I decide to try to use Din's Fire, which... Can I just do this? Does this work? Oh shit, it doesn't work. Oh! Okay, 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 we good. And hopefully I won't try that again. Nearly died. Then the Floor Master room. Big ol' hand. I throw the nut immediately upon entering the room and then spin attack to finish off the smaller hands. So here's a fun fact. If you thaw the ice on the ice switch of the wall, it just kind of works. So if you have Din's Fire as Young Link before going adult, you don't actually need to engage with this puzzle at all. Just use Din's Fire and you'll be fine. Green Poe Sister, same verse as ever. For this one I decide to use a nuts plus jump slash combo. It's not too important to dwell on this, so instead, did you know that if you're standing under a block, it will refuse to drop? Even though this game is held together by hopes and dreams and duct tape, the developers did think a lot of these things through, and it's kind of neat. The final Poe Sister is as eventful as ever. You just wait for whichever one spins and then you shoot them. So down the elevator we go, finish a spinny room, and then our first boss fight. Phantom Ganon. For Dead Man's Volley, I only take the less risky ones and let speedy ones go by to save my sanity. And just like that, the first tempo is finished. And I won't lie, for the first attempt, I never even thought I'd get this far. Link finds out he's adopted and immediately goes back to young Link because the next destination on my list is the bottom of the well. I made sure the green skelly man is never around the corner, basically look both ways before crossing, traffic safety is very important, use bombs to quickly and efficiently take care of the big Skulltula, and then hope to god Dead Hand never hits me with his entrance and exit dirt. Yes, I'm serious, that's a real thing to consider. I don't really know what the logic is, but I use jump slashes which avoids getting grabbed by the Dead Hand's hands, and stab its face until it's through. We can now scratch the bottom of the well off the list. The next step, Ice Cavern, so let's take the convenience elevator and enter, but not before I say these words of wisdom. You know, I'm taken aback by how a lot of the very scary feeling things in this run are all in what feels like secondary dungeons. The Ice Cavern is another one of those dungeons where I'm like, this is honestly one of the more annoying ones to do, because there's so many things that can damage you. Basically, my butt has been clenched for the last 3 hours. Lovely little bit of foreshadowing there. So the Ice Cavern begins, and from the start I try to take the freeze arts as safely as I can, using my newly acquired bomb tubes that I picked up in the bottom of the well. But really, I probably should have grabbed more of them if this was gonna be my plan. Still survived, and the next challenge is this room. Host both the spinning scythe and this homing jar, and then go grab the silver rupees. Ah! Are you kidding me? No! It spun me all the way. I should have used Din's. I could have survived with Din's fire. Oh, are you kidding me, man? Oh no. It spun me around so far. That was so bad. Oh my god. Dude, I straight up feel like crying right now from that. I was this close. I was this close to getting just so far. And just to lose it like that. Oh. Bro, I'm so frustrated with myself because it's like I'm replaying the scenario in my head. There was so much I could have done. I have so much regret about this one. Part of me knew there was no way this was going to go through on my first run, and I knew the Ice Cavern would be dangerous, but it's still so sad. I had so many regrets, and there was just so much I realistically could have done. But ironically, I froze. In the moment, I did not respond with an answer, only panic. And so, after 3.5 hours, Link 1's journey died. But I wouldn't let it end there. After a short break, I jumped right back in. On Link 2, having done a longer single segment run before now, and in a bit of a desperate attempt to catch up, I am significantly less cautious than I was in Link 1. Things like not feeling like I need to methodically kill everything in a room and actually attacking things with my sword. And then I make the same mistake as I did before, grabbing the heart container after killing Queen Goma. Oh well. Ocarina gives Zelda some deja vu by her meeting Link 2, not in the scrubs, and don't feel like needing to kill each one. Saria's song, Dodongo's Cavern, look at this epic gaming action, I already finished it. Finally on the way to Falling Death Rock's Road. What the heck was that? Align yourself correctly through Falling Death Rock's Road and go for the usual backwalk and somehow make it again. Magic meter. A short 10 minutes or so later, here we are at Jabu-Jabu's belly. And I don't know how to explain it, but this run was nothing short of miraculous for me. Somehow, after losing everything, I've been able to recover everything in quite literally double time. I don't go through Jabu-Jabu's as fast though, this dungeon is simply too dangerous, with lots of rogue hits that could just happen at random, but overall, I've been in a flow state that simply couldn't be beat. Yeah, I may have flow stated myself into an extremely compromised position. See, Baronade isn't the worst boss. For the most part, as long as you don't make easily resolvable mistakes, he can be avoided quite handily simply by picking a direction to strafe in and sticking with it. Unfortunately though, I knocked him towards the wall, which means I couldn't realistically strafe endlessly to dodge, as I would end up crashing into the wall. And as I realized this, I tried to dodge but changed direction too early, and well, that's game. I would say I learned a lot from this run, but really, all I learned is that I panicked again and could have easily solved this by simply saving and exiting the run and retrying the boss. I might just be a bit stupid. And so Link 3's journey begins. And ends as soon as it begins, apparently. That just went through my shield. That just straight up went through my shield. Alright, Link 3 didn't Link 3 didn't exactly last very long now, did he? Hi, Link 4. Surely Link 4's journey will catch up to Link 1. With that, the writing was on the wall, and I figured I really shouldn't continue any longer that day. It had been 7 hours, and frustration was starting to set in. It was time to take a break. On the second day, Link 5's journey starts the same way as it's been going. Grab a bunch of Skulltula, Saria's Song, etc, etc. At this point, some of the areas in the game are starting to get really boring for me, like the Dodongo's Cavern Lizalfos fights, as they mainly have me standing around doing nothing at all. Such an epic struggle, right guys? Even Link is bored. He's like looking around like... Guys, am I supposed to do something? He's flexing! I survive falling Death Rock's Road and Baronade just fine this time, and make a slight adjustment to have been running these by getting the Deku Nut capacity upgrade and the bomb bag upgrade. On this run, I also start picking up all 3 bottles in Epona's Song, though I only grab them after I've completed the 3 Young Link dungeons, so that I'm not wasting my time with trivial side quests before I roll the dice on falling Death Rock's Road. I also spend a bunch of extra time filling out the Bomb Tube bag in preparation for the freeze arts in Ice Cavern, just to make my life a tad easier. And speaking of Ice Cavern, as it's clearly the scariest bit in the entire run so far, I decide that this time the Ice Cavern will be the first thing I tackle. To avoid my earlier mishap, I use a bomb to break the icicles this time around, preventing me from getting knocked around like last time, which works! But here's a major routing mistake. I forget that there's keys in the dungeon, and I don't have the bow, because I went here as early as I did. As mentioned earlier, the keys are no doubt some of the scarier enemies to avoid, as finding them in 3D space using your sword is painful. But I wait long enough to take out 2 of them, then use Din's Fire to slowly take out the freeze arts from a distance. I brought several green potions just for this. I make it to the second room of keys, but with how open this room is, it's a lot easier to deal with this, so honestly they might not even really be here, it's just a simple puzzle room. Finally, melt 1 more freeze art with Din's Fire, and avoid the falling icicles 1 last time, and like that we're finally out of the... well, I wanted to say out of the fire, but that's the last thing we're out of really, because the next thing we're tackling is the Water Temple. You might be thinking, already? And yeah, already. Meet Fishwife, swim up and spin to win in a room that's extremely pointless. Why did I go here? Ignore this room next time, Eon. Now this part is technically made to be done with arrows, but Din's Fire, and just like that, we've secured our first key. I hear the Tektite from upstairs, so I hold off and ensure I don't get hit by it. Then move towards the second key. Yeah, I kinda wish I had more to say, but this was just kinda dumb, both from the game and from me. I'll spare you the biggest details on Link 6. At this point, I started getting to the point where young Link started feeling like routine action. I wasn't feeling stressed about Baronade anymore. Falling Death Rock's Road wasn't getting me stressed either, but that didn't mean I wasn't annoyed at the fact I died or anything. However, with Link 6, I started taking some unnecessary risks just to spice things up a little bit, because the whole routine work thing. I was clearly tired, and during this particular Link, it was the opposite of Link 2. The whole thing felt like it was stuck in a funk, and in the end, well, it ended the way you'd expect. Dying really stupidly to a Lizalfos in Dodongo's Cavern. Are you kidding me? I deserve this. So now we've reached the 7th Link. There's really nothing special about the Link 7 run in the Young Link portion. Beats the bosses, prepares the bottles, the bomb chews. If I really wanted to talk about this run, I'd just be repeating Link 5 all over again, and I just finished talking about Link 5 a few minutes ago. But it was already deep in the night at this point, so I made my way to Adult Link, and I decided to go to bed. The next day, I started my stream once again, and show off the premise of what we're doing, aka me dying on an alternate save file. So, last stream we left Link 7 at the start of a run, or rather at the start of the adult section of a run. The first step is once again Dampe's grave, in which I can't focus much on chat, so I directed the chat to use CTS if they had something to say. They didn't, but they wanted to anyway, and I can't fault them for that. I'm not gonna look at chat for a moment, so if you wanna say something, you're gonna need to use the TTS, because I need to focus on the fire. I need to get rid of that sound effect that happens with TTS. It slows it down like crazy.
Something. Mimu Deo says something. Sticky of Destinix says fish. The Batter 4 says
grab the hookshot, show people the weird thing of the 2 blocks having a little gap, then make my way to the ice cavern. I came super prepared this time with 50 bomb chews, and I'm able to dispose of the freeze art super safely as a result, using Din's fire for the last one. And I just realized I should have gone to the Forest Temple. I completely forgot I was going to the Forest Temple first, so this is a really stupid way of doing it. Here we are. I am just going to press on now. With that wonderful revelation in my mind, I do not make the same mistake that got Link 1 killed, but I do make the mistake of leaving the floating rupee for last again. Not that it's killed me before, and not that it's killing me this time either though, but I feel so stupid. And now the annoying part, dealing with a bunch of keys. This, once again, takes absurdly long. I mostly use my ears to keep tabs on how far away they are at any given moment thanks to the headphones. But yeah, this spot is ridiculously annoying due to hookshot range being so absurdly low as a weapon. Legitimately took minutes just to get rid of the keys. After that though, I spammed the hell out of Din's fire to safely dispose of more freeze arts. Then gulp down a green potion to make space for a blue fire, which I can then use to go into the wrong room again. I swear I always do this! I went into the wrong room again. I thought I did it right this time, but no, it did not. Well, I brought plenty of chews, and there's another blue fire torch here, so don't get impaled by an icicle and just deal with the stupidity. And then there's this room, which again is so much easier due to how open it is. Not hook from a distance, no icicles here. After you've dealt with all 3 keys, you can kinda just go through it with no questions asked. Finally, the last hallway and the last room upcoming. Why did I do that? Why did I do that? The Serenade of Water, and just like that, the ice cavern is cleared for only the 2nd time. But this time, it's before any other Adult Link progress has been made, so if I die now, nah, never mind, I'll still be extremely frustrated. On the way to the Forest Temple, I grabbed the Goron tunic from Link 7 to Goron. Apparently, Darunia is the only one with a worse naming sense than I do. And the Giant's Knife, the damage dealer 2000. Then it's onward to the Forest Temple as you'd expect. Learn the Minuet of Forest. The Forest Temple goes as well as you'd expect too. Stalfos, scary as always, grab the bow, but I ran out of Deku Nuts. Oops, so I kind of just awkwardly leave the Forest Temple. I can't go without my nuts, and now I'm just kind of trying to figure out where I'm gonna get Deku Nuts from. After all, I've been avoiding Kokiri Forest because it looks like this, unsafe central, and decide to go to Zora River. Why? Well, one of the pots here has Deku Nuts on every map reroll, so if you just go back and forth, infinite nuts. So now that you've sat through what, half an hour of me recounting events in chronological order? What do you think this absolute genius does next? I bet you didn't expect the water temple to be next on the menu instead of finishing the forest temple. I have no idea what I was thinking anymore, man. This time, I've learned from my mistakes and don't enter map room. Grab a key from clam room safely, and instead of leaving on foot, let's just warp back to the entrance to avoid what happened last time we were here. Next, Central Tower. Sink to the bottom. I really should be switching to Goron Tunic while I'm around floor spikes, but that would mean I'm smart. Grab the key from this whole enemy squad, and the second key has been grabbed. Grab the third key from the wall crack, and then it's on the way to Darkling. But not before I bait the vertically offensive Tektite down and prevent it from murdering the hell out of me. This dungeon really is the vertical challenge dungeon. And finally, the epic challenge against Darkling. The moment everyone's been waiting. Got him. Oh, the whole thing. I've been waiting to do this. Oh, I've been waiting to do this for so long. So, Dark Link uses the same amount of health as your player character. Meaning, if you don't grab any heart containers, he only has 3 hearts, making him one of the easiest mini-bosses in the game, if not the easiest one in the game in general. He dies in 3 Din's Fires, which he cannot block in any way whatsoever. He's still more resilient than I am, though. Anyway, now that I have the long shot, I leave the water temple because I have the most important key on hand. There's just one tool left that I'm looking for, and it lies beyond clearing the forest temple. So, why didn't I do that before? Turns out I explained my thought process a little later. There's no massive reason to me deciding to hold off on finishing this forest temple. Other than I really needed to get the long shot out of my way. Valid reasoning, honestly. The rest of the forest temple honestly goes completely according to plan. I basically just shred the ghosts, don't get crushed and such. Boss fight time. This is probably the funniest Phantom Ganon fight I've ever had. Yeah, you can't exactly trick me if you're just gonna stay in the same one. It's the same one again. And then he went 1 to the right. Do it again. Yo! Oh my god! First boss down! Somehow, a boss that nearly caused me to die in one of my runs decided to just give me the win. Yup. This is officially the furthest we've ever gotten. And now, time to find out I'm adopted. And since I'm here anyway, what better way to celebrate the cleansing of the forest than buying nuts at the newly freed Deku Nut store? With the forest freed, it's time to return to our younger self, though I did forget to grab the Song of Storms, so I gotta do that first, which I proceed to remember right before entering the Temple of Time. I probably should have at least picked up Prelude of... I am doing the worst things imaginable. With the littlest consequences. I should have at least picked up Prelude of Light while I was already past the read-it. I'm so stupid. Well, back to Young Link. It's time for the bottom of the well. The entirety of this mini-dungeon is effectively just running to the back, playing a song, running back to the front, fighting Dead Hand. That's all the mandatory content. As stated before though, the one problem here is that if he digs up around where I am as the hands grab me, I am dead. And I kinda don't actually know if there's logic to that. So if there is, I'm stupid and I gambled while I'm already this far in. Now it's time for probably the scariest part of the run, and no, I'm not just talking about women. Beat up 4 women with several weapons of choice until they allow me access to their backyard desert. Then follow a ghost. I follow the ghost until the levers show up, after which I need to lock in. These things can spawn on you, and if you're not careful, you can just die immediately from these. Levers have absolutely no chill in this game. You are not safe. They will keep respawning until you die. Somehow made it to Desert Colossus, but the annoying part here is that standing still sinks you into the lava, which happens during a cutscene, and that too is a death trap with the levers immediately showing up. But with some semblance of skill, I dance around the many levers and finally make it to one of the biggest treasures of the run. I have practiced this so many times! Oh! The magical shield, the damage-stopping Nairu's love. Prior to this run, I basically never used it. In this run, well, let's just say I was rather excited to get it. You see this? I get to be invincible! Yes! Without hesitation, I run towards the Spirit Temple, so I no longer need to do the lever trip again, unless, as Mimo so helpfully suggested in chat, I die. So let's not do that! So with all of this done, I should probably stop neglecting the Fire Temple, huh? Oh, and I played a shooting gallery in Kakariko Village for some more arrow capacity. So funny little trick, if you hop along the lava, you keep resetting your damage timer, which is heavily slowed down by the Goron Tunic, so lava is a non-issue as long as you have the Goron Tunic. Just keep side jumping. Anyway, it may be a little boring to say this, but with the advent in Nairu's love technology, the Fire Temple is kind of a non-issue. After I get the Megaton hammered up, I take a pit stop to the shop to refill my green potions and talk to the Great Fairy to double my magic meter as well. Finally, Volvagia goes exactly as well as you would expect. You can climb the sides of the platform to stay safe from the rocks if Volvagia starts dropping them on you, and the rocks practically never hit you while you're hanging on there. 2 temples down and 3 to go. The next one to finish is the Water Temple. But thanks to the earlier Water Temple portion we've already done, that was basically all the dangerous stuff, and Morpha is quite easy to kill. Just stand in a corner, do a reversal, stab and slash them a bunch. That's 3 temples down. I show you the whole process of these temples. I know I'm skipping a lot, but there's honestly nothing too special about these. You could watch just about any playthrough of Ocarina of Time and you'd get the same visuals. I grabbed the fire arrows, which are useful, but definitely not required. Spirit Temple time, which legitimately goes against my own soul to do first. I'm very much a Spirit Temple second type of guy because no, the gear screen doesn't prove squat. But some small combat encounters later, it's time for the hardest encounter in all of Zelda. The Iron Knuckle. So I wasn't sure if this would work, but the mirror shield stays working even with Nairu's love active, so that's kind of neat. Even despite the safety net, I didn't really get hit or anything, so it was kind of just a standard battle. That makes one last temple, but first a cutscene that doesn't feel like it makes a ton of sense when you've already been down the bottom of the well. Regardless, I have to fight for Wait, no, that's the wrong video. The dangers of the bottom of the well apply here as well, mostly just not as scary now. Bongo Bongo down, closing in on the end now, and Impa says I'll meet with Zelda soon enough. I really don't think they meant 3 minutes later. The Rainbow Bridge. I think I've never felt this emotional about creating the Rainbow Bridge. Like, I actually felt like crying for a bit there because of how long it's been. Dude, I am feeling this one. I've never felt like that music was more fitting until now. It's not even been that long for a challenge like this. It's been like, I don't know, 30 hours at best? But it was now 8 hours into this run. At this point, everything was scary. Nevertheless, I take my usual slightly risky route in the Shadow Trial, simply because I'm more used to it, and clear it easily, taking the gold gauntlets with me. Fire Trial and Water Trial go down quite easily, but I run out of green potions that I've been using to keep safe as a bonus safety layer. So I go back to young Link to buy some more. Oh, and I get double defense. There's no point to it, I just figured if I'm outside with the gold gauntlets anyway, you know? I cleared the last 3 trials, and now it's finally time to get to the finale, the last few combat encounters in the game. First up, the Lizalfos, which aren't really a problem. The Stalfos get taken down by the usual pokes, and the Iron Knuckles I actually properly engage in combat this time by poking their toes like a normal person. And here we are, the final walk. I've survived everything thus far, and I'm ready to risk it all. Now, you could check the length of the video to see where this goes, or you could just enjoy the ride and see where this goes. Unlike the last few hours of gameplay, there is no Nairu's Love to save me here, because while Nairu's Love is up, I can't use light arrows, and by extension, I will not be able to damage Ganondorf, meaning this last battle has no safety layer. Once more, a true life and death experience. And to top it all off, Navi can't even help us. Sorry, I really tried to get through that with a straight face. Fighting Ganondorf during Dead Man's Volley, I pause buffer to see if my slashes go through, so that maybe if I make a mistake, I can escape with my life if I miss somehow. Though it turned out to not really be necessary. Got him! Yes! Yes! Gah! This is it. This might be it. This might just be it. Now here's the fun part. The true reason I needed Nairu's Love in the first place. The castle was skipped. I actually was going to do all of this without Nairu's Love before because I felt like that would be closer to being true to the run. I ended up deciding against it because this is why I needed Nairu's Love in the first place. Let us escape. Falling Deathrock's castle. You see what I mean? If I didn't have Nairu's Love, I would have been killed by the cutscene there. If you'll remember, Falling Deathrock's Road and myself weren't the greatest of friends. And this is Falling Deathrock's Road Savage. As there can be moments where you can straight up get hit out of cutscene if you're unlucky enough to be standing in the wrong place at the wrong time. And so, Ganon's castle falls. Zelda, Navi, and Link celebrate too early and we're in for one last fight. One that I happily chug one last green potion for. The dark beast fueled by the Triforce of Power himself, Ganon. I decide to beat him in the only way I truly feel is fitting. Nutting on his tail until he gives up, causing chats to be horribly confused with my strategies. And with all my nuts depleted, it's the faithful button press to end the fight in cinematic fashion. The faithful button press, are you ready? Oh my god, I can't believe it! Link 7, the papier-mâché hero of time. And I gotta say, I got a little emotional at this point. To me, this felt like an unbelievable struggle. Even if I did feel like I was cheating at times, I adhered to the initial set of rules. I didn't take any damage. And, well, that's the end. So, if you're still here, I feel like this was a long time coming for me to return to a Zelda challenge. And this video was in production hell for the last 4 months or so. That on top of being burnt out and feeling just a little bleh about Nintendo in general over the last year, there's not been a lot of videos, and while I don't think I'll return to the previous new video every 2 weeks schedule that I was trying so hard to keep up, I do want to speed up a little again from here. A massive shout out to everyone who continued to watch my videos in the meantime, and those who decided to support me on Patreon, or even watch my streams on Twitch. You guys absolutely rock. I may do another damageless challenge in the future. Maybe it will be Majora's Mask, maybe Wind Waker, maybe even something completely different. Who knows? But in the meantime... Oh, of course, before I forget, Here's the stupidest Link death I can think of, as promised.